Hello, I thought I'd just do a quick video reviewing my own trading performance in June, where I made money, where I could have made more money, where I went wrong, and I think a couple of good lessons for all of us when it comes to trading, what the important thing is about trading, and it's not about being right all the time, which I think too many people get hung up on, and a look ahead to some of the interesting markets I'm going to be watching during this month, during July. So we'll get into it in a second. Don't forget to find out more about some of the other stuff I do. I run a trading course. Go to the website, davidjonestrading.co.uk. I'll put the link in the description below. There's a newsletter I send out every week, free of charge over the weekend. You can sign up for if you go there. And there's the WhatsApp group you can join. It's been running for about 6 months now. If you'd like to try it for a month, you can do that. And what it is, every morning I do an update, markets I'm watching, trades I'm in, and answer any questions throughout the day. If you go to the website, you can find out more. But if you use the code YouTube, you get 20% off the first month's subscription. So you do have to pay, but it's an update every day from me and throughout the day about what's going on. And as I say, it's been running for about 6 months. But go to the website, you can find out all about this. I'll put the links in the description below. But let's get into it. It was a good month in June. Let's see what I did right and what I could have done better. So let me take you through my numbers for June. But before I do that, let me explain why I do this. For those of you who've been watching the channel for a while, you might remember when I launched the short-term section of my trading course back in the autumn of 2022, I traded the account for 3 months, talked about it on YouTube a lot, starting from £4,000. If you go to my website, davidjonestrading.co.uk, I'll put the link in the description, and go to performance, you can see a breakdown of all the trades I did over that period. So the account started off with £4,000, grew to just under £2,200 in closed trades, and I listed all of the trades I did in that period from November through to the end of January of this year. And I do this to demonstrate that it is possible to be profitable. You know, it's not easy, but it is possible to be profitable. So I thought what I'll do another public trading thing where I go through the results over a 3-month period. So I've been running it now since May. We're going to have a look at June's numbers so far. So this is my real account, real money. It's a separate account that I set up for the purposes of this. I put £5,000 in. One of the reasons that I like this broker is because the reporting is really good. So it makes it very easy to set up, say, look at this snapshot in time for my account. Where have I made money? Where have I lost money? All of that. So here we go. This is the performance from the 1st of May to the 30th of June. 58% of trades were profitable, which is my long-term average. Almost 6 out of 10 trades were profitable. Risk reward, really important number. One that so many people get so wrong, which means that most people end up losing. But if I'm wrong, I lose. Let's say I lose £100. But when I'm right, I make 1.53 times that amount, £153. In this account, the risk I'm running is £200 per trade. So that's the numbers over since May, from May to the end of June. Let me show you June, because June was a really good month. I mean, May, that was still a good period, don't get me wrong. You know, the profit over the 2 months, the booked profit in this account was 2,727 in total, you know, from a £5,000 start. You know, so it was really good. But let's take a look at just June. So here's June. So June was a bit of an exceptional month for me for a couple of reasons. Not because I had particularly fantastic market insight, but there were some good trends, and we'll come to these numbers in a second. So the win rate was 71%. So I did 14 trades in total for the month. You can see that down here. And 71% of them made money. So that was an exceptional month. You know, like I say, typically it's about 58% make money. So 10 winning trades, 4 losing trades. Booked P&L was £2,248 for June. But the really important thing, what makes the difference, so important in trading. So like I said, the risk is £200. So 3 losing trades I had in June, 3 out of the 4 it's showing here. I lost just over £200 on these trades. 2 DAX trades, 1 gold trade. Whatever, losing trades are part of trading. But where I made the money, look at this trade here, Swiss yen. So I ended up closing that trade on the 19th of June, but the P&L, the profit was £822. So it made 4 times, more than 4 times the risk. And it's so important in trading, if you can have 1 or 2 winners that make a multiple of your risk in the month, it completely changes your month. There was a Nasdaq trade in there that made £476. You can see it on there. So that made nearly 2.5 times the risk. And the next big winner was a German DAX trade that made £411. So that is quite interesting, actually. This DAX trade made twice my risk. So 1 winning DAX trade more than made up for the 2 losing DAX trades. And that's what it's all about. In a month, even if I'm right only half the time, so some are win, some are lose, I just need 1, well, ideally maybe more than 1, but at least 1 big winner relative to your risk can make such a difference to your trading performance for that month. And that's why for me, when it comes to the broker, clearly I want to be able to have all the markets I want to trade, I want a tight spread, all of that. But the analytics side of it is really important. And like I say, there's a link. I've done a short video on my website explaining why I use this broker. So that was the P&L. That was the P&L of closed trades. You can see it down here for the month of June. So it was, it was a good month. I have to say, of course, past performance is no guarantee of future performance, but it was with the £5,000 balance, this account. But trading the approaches I talk about on the trading course and during the day on the WhatsApp group. Let's take a look at some of these markets. Let's have a look at some of these big winners. So the Swiss yen trade. So here's where I did the trade. I did it on the 12th of June. This is an hourly chart. So the market since the 1st of June, broadly speaking, been trending higher, and then hit a new high for the recovery on the 9th of June, and then the following Monday sells off quite sharply, but stopped selling off around about lunchtime, my time in the UK. So I thought, well, maybe we're going to see this market have a bit of a run, but I like having what some people would consider wide stops, because I want to give the market time to prove me right. So I was a buyer at 153.90 is where I got in, and my stop loss was the other side of 153, so below these lows over the previous week, so giving the market lots of room to move against me. So I ended up buying up here 12th of June. Let's walk forward and see what happens next. And bang, it's never a good thing when you put a trade on. It's never a good feeling anyway when the market just suddenly goes against you. So the market went, by the end of the day, was about 50 points against me. So it was still a fair distance away from my stop loss, but it gone against me, and I was thinking, I'm buying the dip in the uptrend. If it starts breaking much below these lows, perhaps that trend's in trouble. Let's jump forwards. Anyway, over the next couple of days, the market recovered. So ate into about half of the distance to my stop, but then recovers over the next couple of days, and I ended up sitting with the trade for about a week. Let's jump forwards. So it ended up being a massive move into the 19th of June. So a week later, when a market moves like this, it's a great market. It's a great trade to be in, because I don't have to think too much, because the market's just powering higher every day. I'm long. All I've got to do is drag the stop up. And like I say, I just need, a couple of trades like that a month that really get a move on, make such a difference to your overall trading performance. The problem is, of course, that too many people bail out and close their position when they've got a small profit. So they don't let these big profits develop. So I came out of it the 19th of June. but the market has carried on even higher since then. I am in a Swiss yen trade at the moment. I bought it a few days ago now, so I'm in a trade again at the moment to see if it moves a bit higher. Fairly quiet the last couple of days, but let's see what happens. But an absolutely fantastic trade in Swiss yen. And while we're on this topic, I think some of these markets that take the US dollar out are interesting markets to continue to watch. If we look at something like euro yen, great trend going back 3 years now, and recently pushed out to multi-year highs, if not all-time highs. And once again, when we see dips in these markets, so far at least, they've been buying opportunities. So the Swiss yen was the trade that really made the month for me. Other trades that did well was the Nasdaq. Again, clearly we had really good swings in the Nasdaq during June. It came into June trading around 14,260, and it ended up, it got as high as 15,300. So we saw, 1,000-point range on the Nasdaq. And again, so I think some really obvious trends in there and some really obvious levels to trade off. I missed a couple of trades though. So I did miss. I was waiting to buy the dip here on the 8th of June. Missed that one. And that was a great trade. The market was getting knocked back to the old lows from a week before. So for me in my trading, it's really important what happens around previous important highs and lows. And this was almost a textbook setup for the Nasdaq. I was out at a pub lunch somewhere, got back later, missed it, thought I'll wait for the market to pull back, and of course it didn't. It just took off, and it was 1,000 points higher about a week, 8 days later. So I missed out on some good trades there. I missed out on the latest run on the S&P on this short and the reversal here, because again it just turned around too quickly. So I think even if you have a good month, there's always stuff you can look back on and improve on. But clearly for me, it was a good month in June. We'll see what July is like. I'll talk about them on the live streams. When it comes to markets that I'm watching during July, it's the same old mix really. I think stock markets, US stock markets, are really interesting. This is the S&P 500, traded up to its best levels since April of 2022. So I am absolutely still looking to be a buyer of the dip in the S&P. Nasdaq, the same sort of thing. We've seen this great run for the tech sector so far this year. If we go off the lows in January, what were the lows? The first week of Jan, the Nasdaq traded as low as 10.7, and here we are above 15,000. So it's moved, 4,400. It's moved, is about 40% roughly, off the top of my head, is the size of the move off the lows in the first week of January for the Nasdaq. So I think that's interesting. The dollar index really needs to make its mind up. It's just, we're stuck in this sideways range. We've been here since Feb. I think there are opportunities in the short term. If I flip this to an hourly chart, there are some interesting swings that we get on the shorter term charts, but medium term, it's just really just grinding out this big sideways range. And it's a similar sort of thing for oil. If we took a look at oil, again, there are some really good swings over sort of 3 to 5 days. But if we look at the dailies over the last few months, it is all still a little bit sideways. So for me, the big focus is still stock market indices. I think these are really interesting markets, and currency pairs like that Swiss yen, for example, where we take the US dollar out of the equation for now, because the dollar really is fairly directionless. So there's some of the markets that I'm watching. I think there are other interesting markets as well that perhaps people don't watch as much, but for example, some of the commodity markets like sugar. I did do a trade on sugar in July earlier this month. So I bought sugar. We had got this big trend in sugar since the October lows, chugging away. October lows of 2022. Came back to the trend line. I think it's interesting here as to whether the trend continues. I think another interesting commodity / metal is the price of platinum. We had this good trend in platinum since September last year. It has fallen through the trend line in the last week or so of June, but this 900 area has been something of support. So I wonder okay, we've seen quite the sharp sell-off in platinum. Will we see it start to make a base during July? So there's always something to watch, but it absolutely, for me, trading does go back to the numbers. And the important number is not so much the win rate. June was a good month, but whatever. It's this number is really important. The risk versus reward. Are my profits bigger than my losses? Because if you're in a position like most people, where your profits are smaller than your losses, if when you're right, you make $100, but when you're wrong, you lose $180, it's tough trying to fight those maths. You've got to be right so often just to break even. So for me, I'm trying to put myself in a position like this, where my profits are much bigger than my losses. And then hopefully in a month, there'll be, a couple of trades, hopefully, that make a decent multiple of my risk. Swiss yen was the extreme one last month, very extreme, made 4 times the risk. But stuff like, the NASDAQ, where I made 2.5 times the risk, DAX, just over twice the risk. A couple of trades like that will more than make up for, the run of losing trades. That's all part and parcel of trading. So that's my month in June. Really good month. Not loads of trades, perhaps a trade, about 4 trades a week, 3 to 4 trades a week, which is a pretty typical month for me. Great performance overall, but just following a sensible and structured approach to trading. The most important thing for me, where's my stop going? So I know the risk. Is there a trend I can get in on? And once that trend is going, can I run it for as long as possible to try and maximize my profits? These are all techniques that I talk about in the trading course. More details, of course, on my website. So that's it for this. I think they're always interesting to do these things. It's a very important part, I think, in the process to look back and think, well, what could I have changed? I missed a couple of good trades in US indices, for example. I could perhaps have got back into that big winner, the Swiss yen. So I think there are always areas you can look to improve. We'll see what July is like. So far, it feels a bit scrappier than June. At the time of recording, we've already had the Fed interest rate minutes out earlier this week. We've got the payrolls out on Friday. As usual, I'll do live streams. If you're subscribed to the channel with the alarm bell notification on, you get a message when I go live. Don't forget to find out more about some of the other stuff I do, the training course that I do. Go to the website to sign up for the daily WhatsApp group. Use the code YouTube and I'll put all of the details in the links down below. So until the next time, good luck with your trading.